Devin, what was the most pleasing aspect of that movie?
Uh, Obviously, it's a special place to win, so the result. But I think the fight, from that first kickoff, the way we counteract there, we just fought and fought and fought for every scrap, every contact point, everything like that. So that was probably the most pleasing thing. And then I think if I was to sort of single somebody out, I'd say Yuri Mattia. He's an unheralded guy. I thought in those conditions he did a really, really good job. And that, but I think the most pleasing thing was our fight. That we didn't go away.
And just looking at the conditions, did that at times during the season you guys have been probably a bit guilty of overplaying? Did it just take the options out? And
I still thought we did a bit. In the first half, I was a bit frustrated. I thought we could have kicked earlier, and we were trying to sort of move it around a bit, which was one of the messages at halftime. Just that sounds really simplistic. Kick quicker, kick sooner. You know what I mean. I thought we were poor like that in the first half, but yeah, then in the second half we were really a bit more direct with the kicking. It is. I was disappointed with the conditions because I thought it could have been a really cracking game of rugby. We had some nice plans, the Bulls up here, so it became a Tshwane cost, didn't it? In those conditions.
you've already mentioned Yuri. How much did picking a halfback pairing of Yuri and Steph, and then obviously having
Yeah, I could say it was my advanced meteorological skills because we chose it 2 weeks ago because we had a bye. But no, Steph Ungro is exceptional. He's one of the best kicking nines in South Africa. I think we're still going to see the best of him. So that really worked. That really did work for us.
Dobbo, that start you had, was it planned or did it just happen?
The middle kickoff to Billy. Yeah. We last 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago at DHL Stadium, they got us the first kickoff when Cameron ran through four of us, and then they scored just after half time. Same here in March last year. A couple of other games like Leinster. So we had to come up with a plan to start better. I know it sounds cliche, but it was the plan. Onto the league counteract. So that felt good that came off. That was the plan. Yeah.
And you spoke about your halfback pairing. What about Evan Roos?
Oh, we missed Gert Smal, injury, and Carl. There were two big losses, but Evan stood in well for Gert. No, I think I'm being flippant because the injury thing is across all the sports, not all the sportsmen, all the teams. I mean, I felt for the Bulls today. I think three guys off, but I thought Evan is a giant, and he's. What I like about Evan now, he's not the Evan of 2 years ago. Or A, the hot-headed element's not there, but secondly, he's so well marked, isn't he? And he still does all the yeoman work. So he's not doing the crazy breaks that he got and all that of a while ago. But he just carries and works and cleans. So it's a much more mature sort of player. It's a tough job because you get double tackled all the time. Yeah, I thought the Bulls would have missed a guy like this with a guy like Cameron. Cameron would be a big loss.
And this win, is it the start of the resurgence of the Stormers?
I've got this sort of thing. It's not an app, but it's a document where you sort of punch in the week's results and it spins out where you can. And suddenly we've gone from relegation to having a chance to the top six. No, I'm being flippant, but it does. We've got to go on a tour. We play Scarlets in Ulster. We get one of those, and then we've got a nice 4-game home run. And that should put us properly in the mix. So pretty. We had we worked out we had to win 2 of the 4 to sort of get top 6. Top 8, you don't really want to finish 8th because then you go into the Aviva to a fully loaded. I know Bulls did a remarkable thing there a few years ago. So you want to get, and we need to win 2 of the 4. We lost the Lions one, so we needed this one. One out of the 2 on tour, and if we get the home ones, we're actually we'll probably finish similar to last year. I think it's too late for a home playoff, unfortunately.
Yeah. So how much of your pre-match chat involved the need to absorb pressure, particularly at the scrum? It took you a while before you pulled the trigger with substitutions. Was that very?
The scrum was a high focus point this week, and to be honest, disappointed with the amount of penalties we gave away at the scrum. Because I thought Yeah, I thought we actually had one or two where quite early we looked really, really promising, and they got us in, I think, the third or fourth scrum when they deserved the penalty. I couldn't see what was going on in the Wilco alleys in the first half on the far side. Two AR calls there, which I think left us a little bit frustrated. But you were in captain, weren't you? They took we in the Bulls game. That's right, big part. But they took our soul in Cape Town. I know we blame it, not blame it, the Clayton Blommetjies misconversion, but the damage was done in those scrums. So there was a massive focus. So they didn't get that dominance they got in Cape Town, but they certainly got 4 or 5 penalties, which worries me a little bit. But it was, if you get destroyed in the scrum, you lose all your energy, and so it was a huge thing this week was about absorbing that pressure, and I suppose just their big carriers off 9, and for some reason that didn't really get going today.
What's the story in Warwick because he kind of frequents either side of the scale. I mean, he made the very important, important.
What's it there? 4 seasons in a day, sort of, with Warwick. That's the price you pay. But he's look at the credit side of his ledger is far bigger than the negative. But I mean that I don't want to sit in the media and but cheap as that grubber was really expensive, wasn't it? Remember, we just got. But if you're going to put Warwick in a box, you're not going to get the best of him, and he's so competitive. And he's got the most steals for us at the breakdown this season. Not probably a poor reflection on other forwards, but he means a lot to the team like that. But I can't box him. I don't know what's going to come out. I don't know what's going to come out the changing shed.
Coach, just some thoughts on your forward pack's performance. I mean, you mentioned that started off under some pressure, both in the line-out and in the scrum. Just what are your thoughts on them staying in the fight to the end?
Yeah,
I thought the scrum, I was so pleased with the start, given what happened in Cape Town. And then they say we got a couple of penalties against us. Thought we steadied it quite nicely in the second half. The line-outs we did well in those conditions. I think we lost one towards the end, which was an expensive one. But where I thought they did really well, the pack, where they defended well. And you saw it in that last sequence, folding, getting off the line, getting back on their feet, not conceding penalties at a breakdown. Those guys, the rugby's skewed in a horrible way now against those tight forwards. They've got to get up from a scrum, and they've got to fold, and they've got to get off the line, and they've got to reload, get off the line again. And I thought they worked really hard. And that's what this team was about. A team that fights, and we knew we had to fight today. And that's going back to Sim's point. Sim's question. It was the most important thing today. It was the way we fought. There were no lost causes. I think we won probably the scraps battles of balls bouncing on the ground, and that's always a team is really fighting.
MVS then now.
Billy, you mentioned planning to kick on to Billy, and Billy was in the press this week saying they're still adjusting, still having to look up and see the time. Did you identify that as a potential weak point, something to focus on?
No, not Billy. I mean, Billy's a great player. We just knew we wanted to kick a sort of. I'll give you the number in case it's a bit. We wanted that short kick, the kick off onto the middle there because their cleaners would struggle because he's by himself. They'd struggle to get there and it's counteract opportunity. So it wasn't really against Billy personally. It was the kickoff that we wouldn't want to go to the sides to where the big forwards are, and they just play one off and they do the exit. It's quite hard to exit from the middle, even if they survive the counter-rucks. So that was the plan. So it wasn't about Billy personally. I think Salman seemed to have an idea that he could get out of Billy, but that wasn't our plan.
And speaking of Salman, there was a bit of some question marks around his physicality. He seemed to want to prove a point tonight.
Yeah, I genuinely haven't seen it, but I went to say to the referees afterwards, because when you win, you go and say thanks to the ref. You lose, you kick the door. No, we go and they said it seemed like Salman was on the edge a couple of times. That wouldn't be ideal. Look, he's a physical four in the South African mould of being an enforcer, but like you're talking perhaps, for example, the thing on Ambrose when the charge down, it looked a bit edgy, didn't it? Yeah, so I'll have a look at that, but. It's also tricky. It goes back to the Warwick thing. You want the guys to fight and be on the edge and be in the Bulls' faces. And maybe if you overstepped of it, but I certainly didn't want him to be passive.
So in terms of these derbies, I mean, this is the Bulls. It's probably your biggest local game. And I saw it when you guys were with the Kobus van der Merwe thing, the minute of silence there. How jacked up he was. And he's a captain and everything. How much do the teams actually perform more? In a game like this, how much more G'd up are they for the game like?
I don't think, I find that these personal things, like we played at Ellis Park a couple of weeks ago. It was France 150th, and we didn't play well and we lost. We didn't play, I don't think we were playing for Cobus van der Merwe today. When you're playing for that or revenge, but these occasions, I'm sure the Bulls, same for the Bulls when they came to Cape Town 3 weeks ago, they won there and they must have felt like the best place in the world to win. It's exactly how we feel right now. I do think, and I don't want to be not, I think Stormers Bulls is just on another realm. Other local derbies are lekker, but there's just something very special about the Stormers Bulls games. We had to go through the pain of losing at home in front of a full house 3 weeks ago, and I'm sure it meant the world to the Bulls. And I promise you that there's still singing and beer spraying going on there. So and we've got an Australian S&C guy, and he says it's the greatest win of his career. But maybe it's a reflection on Australian rugby, but but you're right. I think it's the occasion of Stormers Bulls up here gets these guys really, really up for these games.
Coach Tobo, just congratulations on the win today. You guys obviously, the Bulls made a lot of mistakes and didn't do the right stuff. They could have kicked in the back. What do you take from this game, even though you know that the scrums were tough for you guys, and obviously the Bulls kicking wasn't great? So looking at the couple of games that you guys lost, obviously your guys' confidence is going up now, but what is the big things that you want to do from a coaching group over the next couple of weeks to get you guys into that position where you can obviously compete in the top 6?
Yeah, look, I think the scrumming, I think we're much better than Cape Town, and I think the Bulls scrum is one of the best in the competition. So you're measuring yourself. I think we were going toe-to-toe with one of the best, so I'm not too worried about that. Look, I think what we need to do, it's hard in these conditions to say what we did wrong playing-wise. Could probably learn more from Ellis Park. We had 19 22-metre entries and only scored 2 tries. I think our team changes quite a lot now. So I think this group, even though we haven't got that many wins, this group have done really well. I thought they were pretty compelling at Ellis Park in terms of performance, not in terms of outcome. Very unlucky not to win in Cape Town and got the win up here. But there are about 7 or 8 guys coming on strength for the tour, in 2 weeks. So, I mean, you can just see that naturally will change. Like you throw in a Sasha or a Marnie or a Damien or Suleiman into this group. It just changes how we play a bit, we had to be a bit more workmanlike. We lacked the X factor of that, and that's not good coaching. Those are just special players who can do crazy things, So that'll probably be our development now, is the reintegration of the injured guys.
And just on that, obviously the guys coming back, you guys are obviously giving the younger guys a bit of more exposure, which is obviously needed in today. And I know obviously with the Bulls, they also have a lot of injuries. The Sharks have a lot of injuries. I mean, is there anything that could be done differently to manage the players in the unions, not to get that high amount of injuries at the moment?
I don't know. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, or probably even this week, I felt, woe is me. We got 14 or 15 or what injuries. I saw 3 Bulls guys went off today, and they really got some really big players. Eric's not there, Ron Keir's not there, Cameron Hanekom's not there. It's not good. And I don't know, there's talk that maybe do we not take part in the EPCR? To me, that would be sad, because it's good inventory, and I don't know how. I think there's a case where we've got to get our squad stronger, and we've got to be able to say we can beat. And don't take this wrong. I'm just going to take the bottom team on the log just because it's an easy victim. Got to beat the Dragons with rotating players. I think we're still very much in the culture. I am certainly guilty of that. We generally choose our best team. It's 50-50. We'll do a rotation, but we don't really back the 5th lock. We must win this URC home game against the Dragons, for example. And so there's you don't take part in the EPCR, which I'm not sure is good for South African rugby. It might be good for player welfare. It might be good for Springbok rugby in that the players aren't getting injured. Or I think we just got to build, and I think they're doing it up here, and hopefully we'll get there, build deeper squads and become better with rotation, because I don't think we can wish away this injury list as just bad luck. I mean, the Bulls are probably sitting in exactly the same position, maybe even worse than we were sitting in, a couple of weeks ago. And big players, man. You're right. Cameron Hanekom, Sasha, Dani, Ulrich Lowe, these are big players. And that game, I know the weather probably took it out, would have looked a lot different, throwing in 5 or 6 from each side. So I don't know how we stop it, but I don't know. Sorry, long answer to say nothing.
John, so this last one for me is so representing SuperSport schools rugby and derby days and all the life that comes from that. I know you're welcome, Boykie. And then to Cape Town, you came
for
for
a couple of weeks, yeah.
Come on, man, claim it. And then you came and you tucked with your Varsity Cup winning side. Then you moved on to Italian victories, and that's where your fashion sense comes from, obviously. And just a shout out to the youngsters who fill the stadiums and who want to be those 20-year-olds who fill our packs and refine our stadiums. Just Derby Day. We said now in the big games. What does it mean to?
No, look, this Origin thing is really cool. The one that did the URC, because you actually look at everybody's socks. And I saw see Willy's white things. I think, well, yes, it's Willy's. Die Wilkes. His school motto is Diep Gewortel. I should promise you this. I said, Willy, I said Diep Gewortel. No, but look, in the Western Cape, we're really blessed. But South African schools rugby is what this whole thing's built on. And I'm not saying it because polite, where you're from. You know, like that's the thing with the Stormers and Province. If we get the alignment of our schools rugby right, it's the most incredible region. Not just the whole Western Cape region. The schools up here, it is what no other country's got. And once we get that properly organised and properly aligned, I think unions up here are a bit better at it. You know, we lose a lot of players to upcountry because we had some issues that are well publicised down there. I think we'll get better, but we can't retain. It's actually it's so brilliant, the school system in South Africa. It's like just look at Parboys High. There, Franco Horn goes to he's the Parboys number 8. He goes to the Lions. Evan Roos is the next year's one, so he goes off to the Sharks. Comes back to us. There's no ways we could. With Evan Roos is there, we can't sign the next one. There's a fellow you might have heard of called Cameron Harnacombe, and those are 3 number 8s in a row from the same school. It's extraordinary. And I can understand that they all can't stay at the same union because Cameron's not going to want to play below Evan, or Evan's not going to want to play, or nothing's going to want to play behind Franco. And it's just the talent we've got here. So what you guys are doing to hide those schools, it's like, sorry, I'm giving you again a long answer. It's Stormers, because we've had a lot of problems. It's almost like these mini academies in a nice way, because the kids have got to get matric and they got parents and their values and their traditions and their It's you can't do that in a commercial academy. Let's say we wanted to start a Province or Stormers under 16 academy, wouldn't have anything like the tradition and the logo and the socks and the history. So it is the USP. Other than to me, it's the best thing about it's the bedrock of South African rugby, the schools rugby. So it's nice that we pay tribute to it. It's oh, cool, that's true.
Can I ask one question, please, Dobson? We spoke about the 12-month rugby and everything.
Yeah.
Isn't the logical thing that we bury the Currie Cup?
The variants.
Well, for you guys, I mean, ring-fence your top players.
Yeah.
Because I heard or most of the guys are talking about that again, ring-fencing players that won't participate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was doing that exercise this morning, of which say, okay, for us to compete in the URC Champions Cup, we have to rest the guys. We have to run a proper pre-season, which is during the Currie Cup. So I'm going to take this 32 out of the Currie Cup because last year we tried to sort of mix and match a bit, and that is problematic. I know SA Rugby want to make. I actually think, it's going to sound odd, it was better. I was one of the first guys leaning against the pub with a vintage lager, saying bring back the Currie Cup and play it in June, July, and August because it's a heartland rugby month. So we've only got a couple of rugby championship games in the evening. The rest of Argentina played at a funny time, Australia and New Zealand. I'd be lekker to watch Griquas Bulls on a, but it doesn't work there for the reasons you've just said. So it's actually better off to go during URC because we've got all these extra players who are not getting game time now, and I'm sitting and they maybe then if you could do it like on a Friday night or a Sunday or something like that, I think it's got more chance. I don't think any of the big URC teams can play their main players. They can't in the Currie Cup in the slot at the moment, which is a pity, So I don't know what the solution is because we all. Some of you might be. We all want the Currie Cup, but I don't know. The other solution is something creative because there's a shield going on at the moment. Not that any of us know. Yeah, and I don't know if there's a way of incorporating the shield into the as part of the Currie Cup, which might make it more meaningful. That meant when the Lions played the Stormers, everybody was at full strength. And then the other teams can play another, and then we would have to then beat the Pumas with our so-called second team, because the Shield, I know it's very. If you look at it, we've played 6-1-3. The Bulls must be pretty similar. The Sharks, I think, are one ahead. I might be wrong that I've done today. So the Shield is I don't know if that can sort of be included, but I don't see it standing alone like it is now, with much interest, which is a pity. That's why I think it should be doing the URC. So literally, because at the moment I sit loaning players to other provinces or that. So if you had province, let's say on a Friday night, the Currie Cup was played, and then our youngsters could play for, or our B could play for free province, and then their URC fit and their EPCR fit, and that will allow for the rotation. Because some of the reasons you don't rotate is that, let's say Gary Porter's a number 5 lock for us. Gary hasn't played for 6 weeks, so I can't choose him. I don't think he's match fit. But if he's got 3 Currie Cup games under the belt, then we could probably get towards more rotation. And then we could get the close down over June, July, August, which we need to rebuild our players. Having said that, the obvious solution, we've got to get to a global season, but I don't know where Currie Cup survives in that.